taking an in-depth look at the communities you live in. This is CSRA Today. Hi, everybody. I'm Cliff Bennett, in for Andrew Harmon. Today, we're going to be talking about an upcoming event from a local organization that has literally just grown in leaps and bounds over the last few years. The J.D. Paw Memorial Foundation and the upcoming second annual Deputy J.D. Paw Memorial Top Shot Poker Run, which will be happening on Saturday, August 15th. With me today, one of the organizers from the foundation and also the Top Shot Poker Run, Mike Cardenias. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
So before we start talking about the Top Shot Poker Run, say that 3 times fast, let's get a little back history here, why we're doing an event like this in the foundation that is the J.D. Paw Foundation.
The J.D. Paw Foundation was founded in the wake of the murder of Deputy J.D. Paw with the Richmond County Sheriff's Office on October of 2011. And shortly thereafter, several of us who were motorcycle enthusiasts, friends and former co-workers of J.D., we wanted to have a memorial ride and raise money for the family for whatever immediate expenses and things like that. We weren't planning on forming a foundation, a law enforcement foundation of any type. The family basically came back and said, that's very, very nice of you, and we appreciate that, but we don't want the money. For us, we want the money to go back into law enforcement. And that's kind of how the foundation was formed. And we decided, well, if that's the case, you know, we could make it an annual ride, and whatever money is derived therefrom will then go into local law enforcement. So we decided to make it local law enforcement for the CSRA, which is 13 counties in Georgia and 5 in South Carolina. And since then, we've had 4 annual rides, and we're about to do our 4th golf tournament. And since last year, we started also a poker run in the summer, which is coming up on the 15th of August.
Now, the registration for the poker run, that is from 8 until 10 at Augusta Harley-Davidson on Frontage Road off of I-20, right?
That's correct.
So 8 to 10 on that, and the bikes are out. And by the way, it's not just motorcycles we're talking for this.
It's not for motorcycles. It's for a lot of different, show up in whatever you want to. Horse and buggy. We've got a Jeep club that's interested. There's a Mustang club that may come and attend with their members. It's not just motorcycles, no.
You ever get that, and I ride motorcycles too, so you get that feeling that people look at it and they go, well, it's just for bikers.
Yeah, we've heard that a lot. Yeah,
you do. But this is the family-oriented event. It's a family-oriented foundation.
Correct. Even our motorcycle ride, our annual memorial ride, is not just for motorcycles. But a lot of people, I've had emails and things like that, love to come, would love to attend. You know, I know JD, I worked with JD, or he was a good friend of mine, and we appreciate what you're doing, but we don't ride motorcycles. And I always tell them, I said, still come out. The event itself, we have a lot of different activities and things like that, and it kind of revolves around a motorcycle ride. But there's vehicles involved in it. We have sponsors. We've had Milton Rubin Chevrolet, Pontiac GMC actually sponsored and had several courtesy vehicles for the family that were in the ride. So it's the way we organize it, and once you register, we have you line up a certain way, and it's not just for motorcycles, as is the poker run. The poker run is not an organized ride. It is a poker run, if you understand what that is.
For the people that don't understand a poker run and this particular type of poker run, can you give them an idea of what we're talking about?
A poker run is obviously, it revolves around the game of poker. You want to try to get the best hand that you can. How you get your cards is you have to go to predetermined stops. You can go to these stops in any order you want to. Like you said, the registration is from 8 to 10. The last bike out will be registered at 10 o'clock, and they can ride these stops, which will be given to them. Each stop, you then get checked off that you arrived at that stop. And since it's a Top Shot poker run, it's kind of revolved around law enforcement and firearms training and guns. So once you stop at all of these stops, that gives you the right for 1 card. So obviously then there's 5 stops, and whoever has the best hand of cards after the stops is the winner.
And there will be lots of prizes on hand actually at the very end of this, because everything wraps up at 2 p.m. at Wild Wing Cafe on Washington Road.
That's the final stop.
That's the final stop. And like I said, lots of prizes on hand. There's going to be live music, food and drink specials out there as well for
live
everybody
music,
that's involved.
Food and drink specials. And of course, once all the bikes are in, we tally all of the hands and see who has the best hand, which will take the top 3 hands, number 1, 2, and 3. They'll have prizes awarded to them for that, and we'll also give a prize for the worst hand. So there's something to strive for too. You can be the best loser.
Well, they're hands up on that one. Once again, we're talking with Mike Cardenias here with the J.D. Paw Foundation for the Top Shot Poker Run that's happening on Saturday, August 15th. The monies that are gathered here for the foundation, Where does that actually go to? I mean, you said earlier it doesn't go to the family of J.D. Paw. This actually goes to assist.
Right.
Exactly how is that money used out?
We always say our mission statement is one of three things. It's for equipment, training, and or benevolence. Benevolence meaning deputies falling on hardship. He had an on-the-work job injury. God forbid, how serious it is, but the family has financial issues and things like that. We evaluate that, and if there's some way that we can help, we try to help that way. The main thing that we've done, though, is equipment purchases. Everybody, all the agencies are under budget restraints. There's a lot of wants that they have. There's a lot of things that they need.
Right.
That all revolve around money. Everything has a cost, and the larger the agency, of course, the more the cost. Main thing that we like to focus on is safety equipment, the equipment that the officers need out in the street to make them more professional and above all for their safety, which this whole foundation was formed around an officer who was killed. There was a big talk about the ballistics vest that he may have had that wouldn't stop the bullet, but it was a rifle round. Very few soft body armor that police officers wear will stop a rifle round.
Right.
But we've donated lots of equipment to a lot of different agencies. What we do is we get a request from an agency of something that they may want. We then evaluate their need for it. Is there something that they may need that's more critical for the officer in the field? Once we've identified that, we then do cost effectiveness to see what kind of the best deals that we can get, not the cheapest or the lowest bidder, but effectiveness as far as the reliability of the equipment and whether it benefits that agency with what their desire is. It's not luxuries, it's things that they need. We've bought radios that's an officer's lifeline.
Right.
Without a properly working radio, we had the Harlem Police Department that didn't have all of their radios that would work properly, and a lot of officers were out there with a radio that only worked every now and then, and that's a bad thing. So we looked at that and we bought radios. We actually buy the equipment ourselves. We don't write a blank check to the agency and say, hey, here's the money to go buy this, because from that point, we don't know where that money goes. We want to make sure it goes to what they intend it for.
Right. I was going to bring that up. You're not just blindly giving away money to various organizations, because the people in the J.D. Paw Foundation, you all have backgrounds of some sort in this field.
We have varied backgrounds. On the board of directors for the foundation, there's several of us that were in law enforcement, are in law enforcement still currently. We've got a doctor. We have an attorney. We've got business owners. We've got people in the management industry, people in the media industry. So there's varied backgrounds, and we rely on that for the things that we do and the purchases that we have. And plus, they have a network of people that they know as well. So it's easy for us to research, and most of us know somebody that works in a field. For example, we bought software equipment for the Richmond County Sheriff's Office for accident reconstruction right after that little boy was killed by the school bus. So we got off the school bus and was run over.
Right.
I used to work in a traffic division years ago with Richmond County, and it's a very complex and difficult investigation to be precise and to be accurate and make sure that you reconstruct the accident. There's software out there now that assists in that. However, that software is expensive. But since in the wake of that, they asked for that software and we researched it. I actually contacted several private companies to do accident reconstruction to see what software they used, how they used it, and what we did is we took the information from what they currently have, which is the hard equipment, the hardware, the lasers and the finders that they use for the distances and the drag factors and things like that, the hardware that they already had on hand, and then a software program that would complement that to bring them more into the 21st century on accident reconstruction.
For the people that aren't able to do the events that the J.D. Paw Foundation creates, and there have been quite a few over the last number of years, how can they assist or help if they want to?
We have a website set up, www.jdpawmemorial.org. Make sure it's .org, but I believe if you type in .com, it'll come up as well. We also bought that domain.
Right.
They can go to that site. They can donate. We have a PayPal account through that's secure. They can donate their time. We take a lot of in-kind donations as well. A lot of business owners will give us, depending on what type of business it is, something for an auction. Most of our events all have silent auctions. Mm-hmm. If it's something that's of value, even though it may be a $200 item, they donate the item, but somebody may be at $150 on it. They got a good deal on an item that's normally $200, and the foundation gets that $150. So we take in-kind donations. Everything has value, but one of the main things I want to point out too, the support that we get from sponsorships and things like that do not equal the level of support that we get by people volunteering their time.
With this organization being around for a few years now, and it's been a couple of years since we lost Deputy Paul, sometimes you will see these organizations start to diminish. Whereas this organization, you guys have just grown in leaps and bounds.
Well, we'd like to think so.
Yeah.
We're very proud of it. There's a lot of people involved that have made that happen. It takes a lot of hard work. Nobody on the board or on any of the planning committees is paid. Nobody's working for a salary. So it's all for the love of doing the right thing and doing something good for the community and giving back to the community. And we do it in J.D. Paul's name. There's a lot of police officers, unfortunately, out there that are killed every 52 hours in the United States. A police officer is killed. Our organization carries the name of J.D. Paul. It just snowballed from there, and the spur to that was the goodness and selflessness of the family saying that they don't want anything from this other than to put back into the community, and that's what spurred it. And the community support has been tremendous.
It's the heart and soul of JD, but like as you said a few moments ago, this goes out to all.
Like I said, every 52 hours in the United States, a police officer dies. Not just gets shot, but dies in the line of duty. Mm-hmm. It can be from, of course, being shot or something like that, but vehicle pursuit. He's killed in his car in a car chase, and that's an alarming number. People don't realize that. Every time I mention that to somebody, they're like, every 52 hours. That's a lot throughout the year.
Right.
Go to Washington, D.C., look at that wall. Look at that memorial wall. And every year there's hundreds of officers added to that wall. So there's a war in the streets, and they're the front line of public safety, of law and order, what keeps the law-abiding citizen safe from mayhem. And you have to support that.
With the support we're talking about here, let's recap the event that is actually coming up. It's Saturday, August 15th, the second annual Deputy J.D. Paul Memorial Top Shot Poker Run.
The reason it's the Top Shot Poker Run, too, which we didn't talk about that, this poker run's a little bit different than others. You have the option for your final card to shoot on an indoor range at Shooters of Augusta on Washington Road.
Okay.
And if you hit your target in the prescribed manner, there's a score sheet that comes with it. You'll be briefed on how it is.
Okay.
If you hit that, and you shoot that target well,
right,
you get a wild card, meaning you can make your fifth card whatever you want it to be depending on your other four cards. So there's the trick. That's why it's called a top shot.
There it is. And again, all vehicles are welcome for this poker run, which actually starts between 8 and 10 a.m. at Augusta Harley-Davidson on Saturday morning, August 15th. That's where you sign up and take off. All vehicles welcome. Last vehicle back at Wild Wing Cafe on Washington Road, no later than 2 p.m. There are going to be prizes for first, second, and third place. Like you also said, Mike, prizes for the worst hand.
The worst
as well.
hand. That's usually the hardest one to decide because there's a lot of bad hands, but you got to look at the hand and say, wow, that one's pretty bad, and that's got to win. So,
plus food and drink specials. There's going to be a lot of live music out there as well too. And you're also the first 100 registered players are going to get a free commemorative foundation poker run chip.
Yeah, we had some poker chips. We had 100 of them made up. It's a 43 millimeter or 42 millimeter ceramic poker chip that has the foundation logo on it. It has end of watch October 23rd, 2011 on it, which was when JD was killed.
Right.
There's only 100 of them out there, and the first 100 that register will get those. And it says second annual Memorial Top Shot Poker Run. Now,
coming up after the poker run, we do have another event that's going to be for the J.D. Paul Foundation as well, don't we?
Our annual golf tournament, which is usually in the fall, which this year will be September 28th, which is a Monday at Westlake Country Club.
And information on how you can be involved with that, as well as the poker run, you can find online at jdpaumemorial.org. By the way, that's jdpaugh memorial.org.
Correct.
Mike Ardina is a lot of fun. I hang out with you before, and we're out at the rides, and we see each other then. But it's good to see you in the studio here, and good luck on that knee.
Yeah, it's always fun to watch somebody else at work. Yeah, I got a blown out knee, so I'm enjoying the air conditioning for a while.
Once again, all that information you will find at jdpaumemorial.org. By the way, that's jdpaugh for for the second annual Top Shot Poker Run. Again, that date is going to be Saturday, August 15th, starting at Augusta Harley-Davidson. Registration between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. Last vehicle in at 2 p.m. at Wild Wing Cafe. And again, all vehicles for this poker run are welcome, not just motorcycles. Any vehicle can be a part of this, and it all goes to a great cause, the J.D. Paw Memorial Foundation. Mike Cardenas, thanks so much for staying with us today.
Thanks for having us, and thanks for your support.
And remember, if you have any questions, comments, or would like to talk to us about an interview, you can email us, AugustaPSA@iHeartMedia.com. For CSRA Today, I'm Cliff Bennett. Thanks for listening. Taking an in-depth look at the communities you live in, this is CSRA Today.